Hi, welcome back to Virtual Wellbeing. As you know by now, my name is Lars Hansen and I'm a psychiatrist that's very interested in improving your well-being. And we haven't been on air for quite a while, but I've got a real treat for you today. And that is my patient and friend, Maddie Bruce, that's here with us today. And Maddie, I wonder whether you could introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Maddie. I am 25 now, and I live kind of nearby Lars. I've been seeing him for about 6 years now, I think we discovered today. I have 2 dogs. One of them is just off of camera, just wandering around the garden.
That's a co-therapist.
Yeah. And I also have a YouTube channel where I make videos on all sorts of things that I like fashion and beauty, but also I focus a lot on mental health because it's been a massive journey that I've been through. So
and we want to learn from that journey, Maddie. And I will actually put down Maddie's website and YouTube channel under this in the comments here. So Maddie, we are very, very pleased to have you here. And how you cope with the lockdown?
Do you know what? It's been okay. Like, it's been surprisingly all right because, as you know, I'm okay by being by myself. I've lived by myself for a while, but I just think it was a little bit more of an intense version of that. If I didn't have my dogs, I would have probably gone a bit more crazy. But I definitely think having a dog to not only give me some form of company, but also when I went out on a walk, you know, in the day, that one walk was like gave me purpose for my days during like serious lockdown. It definitely gave me a lot of time to reflect, and I think we've spoken about this, about I've learned so much about myself. I've been doing a lot of deep thinking about just life in general and where I'm at. I feel like I'm at that age anyway, where I'm just assessing where I'm at, you know, who I want to be, where I want to go, etc. So yeah, but I did have my tough times, obviously, as everyone did. So my sister actually came down to stay with me for a bit, which was really, really good. I found that really, really helpful after being alone for a couple of months.
And you two got closer?
Yeah, definitely. Got closer. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, I also know that you exercised a lot.
Yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah. Honestly, I feel like everyone was like doing really productive things, and I think the one productive thing that I did was do some form of exercise in the morning, but that wasn't because I was like worried about body image or anything. It was for my mental health. Like, it just genuinely made me feel good to do a short burst of exercise in the morning, say half an hour, and then I just feel like I'd achieved something, and I was, you know, it was easier to get on with my day.
And of course, the amount of scientific evidence there is for that, it's overwhelming, but we don't need scientific evidence because we can feel it straight away. Maddie, I wanted to hear the problems that you've had. How would you describe them?
How long have we got? Okay, the problems that I've had, where do you want me to begin?
Yeah, if you start out by, for example, you experienced something when you were a small girl.
Yeah.
Maddie is Scottish originally.
Well, this is one of my issues, actually. So, I was born in the Lake District, then moved to Kenya, then moved to Scotland, then moved down south where I am here, but not here, and then moved here. And I've never really had like a place where people say, "Where are you from?" I'm like, well, you know, I don't really know. So, obviously, when I was younger, I didn't really realise I was having these issues until I was in therapy, and then Lars was like, let's look at your childhood to where
I am a psychiatrist after all.
Obviously, yeah. So I guess I did start having issues kind of when I was younger. I was always a really, really confident child. When I lived in Scotland, I was so confident, would always put my hand up in class. You know, I was literally like the main character in like the school plays and stuff like that.
Can we see a picture of you from those
you can. I've
early
actually
days?
got this photo of, I think this was like a family camping trip.
Yeah.
So this was me.
That was Maddie as a young woman.
Yeah. So around that age is when things started to change, because we moved down south from Scotland. Obviously, I had a Scottish accent, and I think one of the most like crucial moments for me with my mental health journey was that And I've told this story to Lars many times and we've spoken about it, but I guess this is where a lot of my issues stem from. Like I said, I was really, really confident putting my hand up. I think the teacher was going through different words and how you say different words, and the word was oak. So I put my hand up and said oak in a Scottish accent, which I can't do now.
Too bad. I would like to hear it.
I know, I think I can only count in Scottish and that's it. I'm rubbish at accents. But yeah, so I said it. Everyone laughed at me because of my accent. And the teacher, actually, now I look back, is so wrong of him to do. He said, no, that's not right. And it's like, well, it is right. It's just not in your accent. So to feel that humiliated, just, you know, it stemmed a whole number of things of not wanting to be wrong, of then, you know, I didn't want to put my hand up in class after that in case I got something wrong, because that was horrendous. And then it's like leading into being a perfectionist and having to do everything properly, but also feeling like a little bit of an outcast. And I think I've spent my life kind of constantly trying to fit in.
Beautifully put. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so that's where my issues started off. Do you want me to go into teenage years?
Yes, that's where we're going next. But I'm thinking, when we're very vulnerable at a certain time in our lives, that's exactly, if we get just one little seemingly trivial experience, it can be blown out of all proportion.
Yeah, because you know what happened? I lost my accent within 48 hours, literally. Spoke like I you know, adapted to speak like everyone else around me because I didn't want to stand out.
And then I know, Maddie, that things escalated and you got into hospital at 17, is that right?
Yeah.
What had happened there?
So throughout school, I struggled a lot with relationships with friends, and especially with guys. Like, there was a massive emphasis on guys and putting my self-worth, you know, in rejection, you know, letting someone else dictate your self-worth if they reject you, etc. So it was when a boy who was a bit older than me had rejected me, I turned to self-harm. And I hadn't seen self-harm anywhere, so I don't really know how my brain actually came about it. I just knew in that instance it was, I don't feel good enough, I deserve to be punished. Like, that's why I started self-harming, and that was around 14, 15. So then it just kind of got worse and worse and worse, and my GCSEs, like, I'm a perfectionist, so I like worked myself to the bone for my GCSEs, never good enough, came out with like really amazing grades, A stars, still wasn't good enough for me, because I had this view for my life that I was like, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to go to Oxford or Cambridge, like, you know, that from like 11, I was like, I'm set on this path, that's what I'm going to do. Anything else like wasn't good enough. So then I actually got a new boyfriend who I guess was kind of like a plaster over the whole wound, kind of like picked my confidence up a little bit, but all the underlying issues weren't dealt with. And then so I went back when I went to college and did my exams there, and that was another massive trigger for me. And so I just, that summer after my first year of college, I always describe it as just my big breakdown, because I just constantly went like this, and my mental health just took a massive dive. My boyfriend broke up with me, and I was just like, there's just no reason to live anymore, so got put in hospital.
Terrible. Yeah, but it's fascinating and terrible at the same time.
Yeah.
What does it feel like to retell the story?
It feels weird because it's like, it's so long ago now, but it does feel like just yesterday. Like, it's really weird how fast time has gone. But now, like, looking back at it, I know exactly, I can pinpoint all the triggers, I can say why things happen, but at the time when you go through something like that, having no knowledge of mental health, you're just like, whoa, what is happening to me? It's so overwhelming and
so powerful. I imagine. Yes, I can recognize all that, and I also know that if things have a deep emotional impact, we remember it, even if it's 10, 50, 70 years ago.
Definitely. Yeah.
So you travel through the lovely psychiatric system. What do you think? What's the worst and the best things about these travels?
Oh, okay. So I kind of fast-tracked the system because by the time I was actually like referred to CAMS, I think I was in hospital. So like, I got referred to CAMS, and then there's a long waiting list, obviously, for that. And then stuff happened, suicide attempts, etc. So I ended up in hospital. So I feel like, number one, I'm going to start with the waiting list and the fact that the only thing that people can give you is medication in the first instance.
Yes.
I didn't want to do talking therapy when I first went to my GP. So she just put me on medication, and then I then, because I didn't have the knowledge of it, I went cold turkey on it, and that was a really bad decision. So I think that's definitely one of my experiences with the whole mental health thing. Secondly,
So too much focus on medication.
Yeah, too much focus and not enough. Well, like, obviously I said I didn't want to do talking therapy, but you know, a lot of people don't. Like, they don't know what it involves, so they're scared of it.
So that should have been explained better.
So yeah, definitely should have been explained better, and also the side effects to the meds. I wish they'd explained them.
You I do remember that from when we met. Maddie had terrible side effects.
Yeah, literally.
So many different side effects.
So many different things.
And it was difficult to get off the medication again. Do you remember?
Oh my goodness. Coming off flipping venlafaxine is literally a nightmare.
It's one of the
Never go on it.
It was terrible. It took us 6 months.
Because I had to transfer onto another medication to then come off that, because I couldn't come off venlafaxine itself.
I remember.
Like, it was so bad. And I got put on venlafaxine when I was at my worst. And I do think it probably gave me like a little boost up. But I just think, that doesn't get explained to you in the initial instance when you go to the doctors, like, that this medication could have lasting effects. And I honestly feel like it's still affecting me. I mean, I've been off antidepressants for, I don't know how long.
Years now.
A couple of years, and I still feel like it's like affected my body.
That it is scary to hear.
Yeah.
It really is. There are clearly some people that it affects more than others.
Yeah.
But getting you off that venlafaxine, that was a true nightmare journey. It really was.
It was.
Did you also meet? I know that you actually felt it was good to get into hospital at 17.
Yeah.
What was it that was good about it?
I know a lot of people have bad things to say, and obviously I guess maybe I just was lucky and had a good hospital to go to. But I think the thing for me was like, it was a bubble. A lot of my issues were about other people, and there was a lot of gossip going around and stuff, and I felt embarrassed that I'd been broken up with, and then there was rumours that she's the girl that tried to kill herself, blah blah blah, in college, and it was just too much for me. And so to go into an environment which was it's like completely different to the outside world, you're like cut off. That's Lola kicking off in the background.
The co-therapist is unhappy.
Lola, come here. What's this? Come on. Okay, we'll just leave her to it. My life was very simple inside hospital. All I did was get up. Didn't make an effort with my appearance because I didn't care at that time. They handed me my meds. I took my meds. I like sat in the lounge in there, watched TV. I actually discovered my creative side, actually, because I had no time to do it. Like, I wasn't distracted by anything else. I would read magazines, do puzzles, make like collages, pictures and stuff. Then I had like one phone call a day from my mum on like the payphone. I wasn't connected to the internet. You weren't allowed like phones with cameras in it, and I didn't want my phone in there anyway. I locked my phone in my drawer for about 6 months, so I didn't want to hear from anyone. But it actually did me good, and the only people that I saw were my mum, and then Lola came to like the hospital, because she was a little puppy then, because I got Lola like, when things started to go bad.
That was a good idea.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because I talked in one of the previous episodes about living a simple life, a simplified life.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you did there.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you had a positive experience. Were people kind to you in there?
Generally, people were kind. Yeah. I don't think I had any. I mean, obviously, some of the staff members were better than others, but like it wasn't horrific. And actually, some of the people that I met in there, I'm still friends with now.
Yes, Maddie, you're very, very good at holding on to friendships. It's a hugely important thing in our lives. That, like so many things in our modern life, is transient.
Yeah.
But we can certainly make an effort to hold on to old friends, even if we have our disagreements from time to time.
Yeah.
Maddie, what are your what would you say your strengths are now, and what are your ongoing challenges?
Okay. I think my strengths are literally being able to analyze things so well. Like, we've obviously done years and years of therapy, CBT in particular, where you look at why you've done certain things, why it is certain behaviors. So whenever like a challenge comes up, my major things at the moment, I would say, are self-esteem and just anxiety of general day-to-day life.
Yeah.
So whenever something comes up for me, and whenever I start getting anxious about something, I question why it is. So I'm like, okay, so why are you anxious about this, and why? And then you just keep asking yourself until you get to the root of the cause, and it's like, because I don't feel good enough. Okay, why don't you feel good enough? And then it's like you do your own kind of therapy. I do this in my head like all the time.
This is role model patient here, actually internalizing that dialogue. That's what it's about, to try to learn and try to not be overwhelmed and allow these things, low self-esteem and anxiety, to affect your functioning.
Yeah.
And it does do that a lot less than what it does.
Yeah, it does. Don't get me wrong, like, I still have my low periods and I still get very overwhelmed. But I bounce back a lot quicker because I'm able to identify the problem and then think, okay, what's helped me in the past? What can I do to get through this? What methods help? And mainly what helps is, you know, what we've spoken about is that thoughts are not facts.
Thank you.
You don't have to listen to them either. You know what? All these thoughts that come into your head, you don't have to be like, oh my God, like, you're so right.
Did you hear that? Our thoughts are rubbish most of the time.
They are. They are, because, you know, how often in the past has anxiety been right? Like, so, well, I mean, we'll give it like a small percentage, but a lot of the time you worry about things and then that's absolutely fine. Or you find a way around it and it all works out fine in the end.
Do you think you've actually gotten stronger from suffering as much as you have? You have suffered.
100%. Like, literally, I wouldn't be the person I am today if I hadn't gone through what I'd gone through.
Yeah. That's also very important, because I think when we suffer, as you and I have talked about, our main task as human beings is to try to learn from that suffering. I think you've already answered it, but what do you think the main things that suffering has taught you, and what would you like to pass on to the viewers of this channel?
I think just that it does get better. Like, I did not see a future for myself past 18. Like, I thought that was it, that was my life, that was me. Didn't care about anything, just wanted to not exist in the world. But I think it's all about taking baby steps. Like, it seems like a very overwhelming at first, but I guess I started doing small things, and then I went back to college, and then I got back in the car after not driving for ages, and then I started going out with friends, and then I met new friends, and it all kind of just like builds up. It's not something you can do, like, therapy and recovery is a long process. It's not something that we can do just like that and like take a pill and it's all okay. Like, you need to know that it's going to be a very, very long, hard process, but if you put the work in, and that's the most important thing, you have to put the work in. Don't get me wrong, you're allowed your days of like self-pity and like wallowing in that, because that's important, because you've got to obviously like crash at some point to be able to then build yourself back up. But yeah, it is all about bringing yourself out of it and just knowing that over time, like, it does get better, no matter how much you think it won't. Trust me, it does.
It's wonderful. And I think, Maddie, you've done one more thing that you didn't mention here. You've made an active effort to help other people through this YouTube channel and lots of friends. And even if you don't have a YouTube channel out there, we can be kind to others. We can do something for our grandparents or something like that. What do you think it did for you to set up this YouTube channel?
Oh my goodness, it's like therapy for me, like speaking to people. And it's also, I get my feelings validated by other people, which obviously I know is like, you shouldn't have to do that. And I don't need validation from other people, but it is nice to know. I think it's nice for all of us to know that we're not alone. And by me speaking and saying I feel a certain way, and people being like, oh my God, yeah, me too. Like, in the beginning, when I still didn't know that much about mental health and like self-growth, etc., I was like, oh, like, this actually helps me to help other people. And it just, like, whenever I film a video, not only filming it helps me, but the response that I get is just, like, is amazing.
So a byproduct of helping other people is actually that it helps ourselves.
Yeah.
Which is very important. Maddie, it was so fantastic that you could come here and sit.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, what a treat, and I think it was for you too. So here is a patient that has suffered a lot and actually improved, and we are very, very grateful for this input. So thank you very much to you, Maddie, and we will see each other next time. There will be a new virtual well-being on the way very soon. Thanks for listening.
Bye.